Shannon Miller will be vaulting shortly for the United States. Already a winner of the silver medal in the all-around competition here at the Goodwill Games, Shannon Miller. The score, by the way, for Khorkina on her second vault was a 9.831, giving her an average of 9.846. That vaults her into first place.
Shannon's performing a Yurchenko vault, the round-up entry vault for her first one, and it's a laid-out Arabian front somersault. And what makes the vault so difficult and why it has such a high rating is because it's so difficult to land and to maintain that perfectly straight body position in the air.
Shannon has qualified several times for the finals at major international events on the vault and has really struggled. She did win a medal in '93, but otherwise she's been 6th, 7th, and 8th place because she doesn't really have two strong vaults, and I think we'll see evidence of that today. Her first vault is terrific. Her second vault is a little shaky.
It'll have to rely a little bit on luck, Bart, the second vault, but this one is great. Just a step on the landing. We've seen several gymnasts perform this vault. We know how difficult it is to land, and we've seen one good landing so far, Khorkina.
Steve Newell, Shannon's coach.
This is great technique, though, right up on top of the horse. Again, look how close her legs are together. She almost lands with her feet perfectly together. Just unfortunately has to take that step.
Yesterday in an interview, Shannon Miller said the fact that she's taller and slightly heavier has helped her, and perhaps this is an event where that shows.
Absolutely. It gives her a little bit more power, a little bit more action off the board.
Being taller and slightly heavier is a disadvantage on nearly every event except maybe the vault. 9.837 the score for Shannon Miller on her first vault out of a maximum of 10. Now this second vault, this is going to be interesting. She's warming up a rather unusual vault, something she tried at the World Championships in Australia and had major difficulties with.
It's similar to the vault we just saw, minus the round-off entry.
If she would score more than a 9.855, she could go ahead of Svetlana of Khorkina.
The good news is this vault is worth a 10. The bad news is it's a little risky for her, but she did it. Great. Oh, look at the smile on her face. It didn't work that well in Australia, so she's really excited about this. Notice it is the same vault, per se, once she leaves the horse. It's exactly like the previous vault. She doesn't quite stay in that laid-out position, so that'll be a slight deduction. And she took the step, but she is thrilled to be on her feet. It's a tough vault. It takes so much more power to do this traditional entry vault without the round-off. Because keep in mind that round-off gives you additional power into the horse, and she has to generate this power all by herself. That's great.
Shannon Miller will be pleased with that one. The score for the second vault of Shannon Miller, 9.812. Her average, a 9.824, which puts her in second place right now behind Khorkina. Now from Romania, this is Anna Maria Bican, and she's a very powerful vaulter, Kathy.
This first vault's worth a 10.0. Double twisting, Yurchenko.
What a land.
Oh, the amazing thing in the code of points, the vault we just saw Shannon perform had a half twist in it, and though the landing is extremely difficult, 1.5 more twists in this vault, yet it's worth the same.
Doesn't make sense to me. Does it make sense to you?
The only thing that is easier about this vault is if you get around, which is the hard part, you can then see the ground, and it's a little easier to come up with a great landing. But to learn the vault is incredibly difficult, Bart. It takes extraordinary technique because there's so much that needs to happen before the ground comes up and hits you, and it comes fast.
$9.825 the score for Anna Maria Bican on her first vault. Could have been a little higher. I thought she might score much higher on that vault as well. Perfect technique and an excellent landing. That means if she were to score a 9.687, more than a 9.687, she could move into the lead here. Khorkina still holds the lead.
Unfortunately, that's a weaker vault. She did it well, but it's only worth a 9.8, so that puts her at a slight advantage before the judges even begin to take deductions.
She said this is her favorite event. Is it perhaps because she has so much power here?
Absolutely. I'd love the event, too, if I had that much power. Good landing again.
9.731 the score on the second vault for Anna Maria Bican from Romania. Svetlana Khorkina, silver medalist, as you see here at World Championships this year on the vault. And Kathy, we were so impressed. She's 5 feet 4 inches tall, was one of the favorites in the all-around, had a mistake on the balance beam, and wasn't able to compete in the all-around session. So perhaps today she is here for a little revenge. She could win a medal here.
This vault's worth a 10, and it's outrageous. A lot of twisting, a lot of flipping.
Interestingly enough, we've talked about the fact that she's 5 feet 4, even taller than Svetlana Boginskaya. Notice the technique on the landing. She even used Boginskaya's 1 foot in front of the other technique to nail the landing.
Add a little elegance to the vault. It's a round-off entry vault. She does a half twist onto the horse, half twist off, and a back pike somersault.
Pretty complicated.
Very complex, Bart. But she does it so well. It requires just an amazing timing and knowing exactly where the horse is so that you can block off and get all of that done in the afterflight.
9.862 the score for Khorkina on her first vault. Keep in mind, first place right now, Podkopaeva. More than a 9.83 on the second vault would give Khorkina the gold. She is the last performer of 8 here in the finals.
Bart, you look at her body, you would never figure her to be a world-class gymnast. It'd be like looking at Muggsy Bogues out on the street and assuming he's a great NBA player. She's so tall and she handles it unbelievably well. That is a very difficult vault for a tall gymnast. It's basically the same vault she performed minus the round off, just like Shannon Miller did. She just took away the round off, did a traditional entry facing forward, and then did that half twist back pike out.
We've talked about how tall Shannon Miller's getting. She's not quite 5 feet tall yet. 5 feet 4, and Khorkina doesn't seem to struggle with that lankiness. .712 the score for the second vault. So as you see there, a 9.787 is the average of these two vaults. That will put her in third place. So our final results look like this. Lilia Podkopaeva gets the gold for Ukraine. Shannon Miller, her first medal of these Goodwill Games, is silver on the vault. Svetlana Khorkina gets the bronze, just bouncing Anna Maria Bican out of that position with her final vault.